Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here the second Sunday in a row. I imagine you weren't here last Sunday, so I could repeat myself, right? Okay. So I will repeat a lot of what I said, and a lot of what I said. It's going to be a little bit different because if it's the same, that means I haven't progressed in a week. And every week you actually have to morph and change in whatever way you can. So the first thing I'm going to say is Ashreinu ma tov chalkeinu u'ma noam geraleinu ma yafi yerushaseinu. We have the goods. We are fortunate, we are lucky that we have an abundance of good that we want to share with other people. So I want to give you some tools. I want to give you some mindset. And instead of what I did last week where it sort of got lost in the shuffle at the end, I'm going to start off first of all with not one website but two to give you two tools, and then we're going to go into the actual cube. So the first tool I have is my own website called Shabbat.com. Because this week is the Shabbos project, we have nearly every minute a new member signing up. And that means, and most of those members are not from Yidden, that means every minute, if my phone would not be on silent, I'd be feeling a little buzz, and it would be a call to action. Hey, go invite this person for Shabbos. It's an amazing thing, an amazing bracha that we have to have such a network, and therefore I'm going to urge you, if you're not a member, just to start off, there's no reason a Frum Yid should not be a host on the site. Even if you can't host that week, just click, I can't host this week, and you won't be asked. But for the weeks that you can, there are so many people. If I did a search right now, within 20 miles, we'd have over 5,000 people looking for Shabbos. I'm not even joking. So, Baruch Hashem, the app, the iPhone app came out this past Sunday. The Android app came out 2 weeks ago. We've been working on it for a long time. So now, straight from your phone, you just look for the word Shabbat or Shabbat.com. You can put either one in and look for there's a logo with a challah and a wine and candles, and download it. If you're not a member yet, just sign up. And by the way, besides guest hosts, there are also shidduchim on the site. We made 6 shidduchim last month from Shabbat. It's 1 month. Baruch Hashem. It looks like there's another one this month already coming up, and we hope even more. So even if you don't want to have guests or hosts the rest of the year, you can actually set your friends up straight from the site. It's kosher. It's got the Haskama of the Gedolim. It's free. There's also Rabbi Juravel tapes that are free on the site. So if you have little kids, you want to play it for them, there's that. There's also jobs. So if you look for Parnassus, it's everything all in one. So that is something. And I have my son over here. My son, I'm going to ask him, anyone who wants a magnet, a bumper sticker. I gave it out last time, but I was on my way out, so we have some left over. I want to tell you, you take one, it's a magnet, you put it on your bumper, and it says Shabbat on it, Shabbat.com, but you see the word Shabbat real loud, because that's very prominent. And when somebody sees your bumper, at the very least, they'll remember Shabbos, and by remembering Shabbos, they will be Mekayim Zachar Stil Shabbos. And you will get the mitzvah for giving them the mitzvah of remembering Shabbos. So it's the best kind of a thing to have on your sticker. And I want to tell you, I was driving down the West Side Highway, and this person honks, and rolls down his window, Shabbos, Shabbos, because he saw my bumper, and it turned out to be Laser Brody. So he's all excited. And Baruch Hashem, you'll get a lot of attention. So whoever wants, my son's coming around with magnets. They're magnets, not stickers. You can always take them off. And just say that if you'd like one. Okay? The other website that just went live that is very worthwhile for this occasion is something I've been very passionate about, and you could use it. I'm not telling you to use this for the challah bake. We're going to speak about the challah bake in depth, but it's good to know that it exists. Unfortunately, the intermarriage rate in the United States is 7 out of 10. The quoted number is 5 out of 10. The reality is 7 out of 10. And you should be aware that in places in Canada, it's 9 out of 10. Like Ottawa and Edmonton, 9 out of 10. So I was thinking to myself, So what happens if you know somebody who's going out with a non-Jew? What do? So until now, you had two choices. Send them to your rabbi, and hopefully your rabbi will convince them to break it off. Fat chance. Or there was a book by Doron Kornbluth that came out a few years ago. So maybe you can go onto Amazon.com, pay for a book, and get them to read 180 pages. A book that will tell them to break up their own happiness. I don't know if either of those are great options. So Baruch Hashem, we started a website called whymarryjewish.org, and the very first video that we put up was a few minutes before Shabbos. The first video, it's devastating. There's no words but devastating. When you see that, if you send that link to somebody and they see that video, they will pause. And that's only the first. We did about 80 interviews over the summer, and it's a link. This way, instead of sending them a book or sending them to your rabbi, all you need to do is send them a link. And let it do its own magic. whymarryjewish.org, not .com, whymarryjewish.org. But don't send it like right by the challah bake, because you don't really know them yet, so you may want to wait. Okay. I mentioned last week, I like speaking about this great challah bake rather than the Shabbos project itself for the following reason. We all do a Shabbos every week. And when we picture having somebody who's not from, so we think, how do I have to tweak the Shabbos that I usually run so that it is acceptable, so that it is compatible, digestible to this person who is not from. So it's a little less natural when we speak about the Shabbos project, inviting someone in. And even though I tell people the opposite, be natural. The opposite, you have the goods, you don't have to tweak a lot, just be yourself and be friendly and use your brains. But the challah bake is an extra opportunity because it's not something that you do each week. Although you may bake challah each week, you don't bake challah in a large setting with people who are religious and not religious. So therefore, you don't have any preconceived notions of how it's supposed to be. So this is really fresh, and you're going to be able to be a professional makarev for an hour. You're going to be, now, I don't believe in the word professional makarev, to tell you the truth. When people say, oh, you're into kiruv, I feel like I graduated that stage. I'm not into kiruv, I'm into chesed, and I feel like kiruv is a portion of chesed, which means that I'll spend time doing kiruv, but I'll also spend time making shidduchim. I'll spend time helping out divorcees and kids at risk, because I think that if we only focus on kiruv, I don't know how much nachas that gives Hashem when everyone else is falling by the wayside left and right. I think kiruv is one of the ways of doing chesed, and if you need a pasuk to back that up, I'll give you the pasuk that you say all the time. Boinei Yerushalayim Hashem says, you want me to be the Boinei Yerushalayim, to build Yerushalayim, bring Mashiach, Nidchei Yisrael Yechanes, you want me to bring back the Nidchei Yisrael, those who are lost, those who are off the derech, you want me to do all that? You know how we're going to do that? Haroife Lishvurei Leiv, if you heal the brokenhearted and you gather in their sorrow, says Hashem, really it's about healing the brokenhearted. Now, sometimes a person can be brokenhearted and they don't know that they're holding the winning lottery ticket, and that is Yiddishkeit. But sometimes they're brokenhearted and Yiddishkeit is not the direct answer, but really just sitting down listening to them is the answer, or making a phone call to help them get a shidduch is the answer. There are many answers, but harofe lishvurei leiv, that is the key. So I believe it's chesed. Even so, my day job is I go around and I help people reach out on college campuses, and we try to be very sincere and very straight. And what I want to do in the next few minutes is give you professional tools that I give my makarvim on campus, okay? There's professional tools, and a lot of it's just a mindset, but once you use this, you're going to be very good during the challah bake, and my hope is this won't just inspire you for the challah bake, but once you say to yourself, hey, I could do this, so then throughout the year, you'll feel empowered to do this, okay? So number one, What are you selling? What are you selling? You're at the challah bake, you're there, someone who's not religious is there, you're gonna speak to them and you're selling something. What are you selling? Interactive, anyone? What are you selling?
The love of Jewish action.
A love of Jewish action.
Challah baking being the action.
Okay. What's your name?
Dawn.
Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Anyone else?
Connection to Hashem through one of the main mitzvahs that women have.
You're selling a connection to Hashem through one of the main mitzvahs that women have. What's your name?
Bobby Feiner.
Hi, Bobby Feiner. Okay.
Continuing a legacy of our mothers from the beginning of the Bible.
Okay, continuing the legacy of our mothers. And what's your name?
Shoshi Skolma.
Thank you, Shoshi. Unfortunately, I disagree with all of you. Although they're very good sentiments, but I don't think that's what you're selling. And if you sell those things, I don't think you're going to be successful. What you're actually selling is yourself. You are the product. You are selling you. It is critical. It is paramount. If you don't get this one truism, it's going to be very difficult for you to influence them. Anyone who sells anything, and this is in normal sales, it works this way. They need to trust you. They need to believe you. They need to see who you are. If they buy you, if they buy into you, then they'll buy into what you're selling. You are the product. You rock. You are compassionate. You are lovely. You are wonderful. You are spiritual. You're friendly. You're the product. And therefore, if at the end of the challah bake, you didn't sell them on Shabbos, you didn't sell them on Hashem, you didn't sell them on a legacy, you didn't sell them on any of that. If at the end of the challah bake, the only thing they bought was you hit a home run. They have to buy you. And therefore, if you come in with a low self-esteem, I would recommend you not learn or you not do a challah with somebody. Because then you can't sell you. You have to sell you. You are the product. And I tell this to the Makarvim on the campus, and I tell this to you at the challah bake. Right? And because you are the product, you have to be extremely careful what you say. So if you say things that will offend them, they won't buy you, and therefore they won't buy Yiddishkeit. You are limited what you could sell in 45 minutes. But it's interesting. So I do an Israel trip twice a year, and my current secretary is leaving her job, and I was looking for a new secretary. So last night I interviewed someone, and I said, okay, let's look at a few profiles of students that want to go on the Israel trip. And we looked at some of their profiles and some of their pictures, and you know what? Some people understand the concept that when you introduce yourself, you're selling yourself. And they did it in a way that this young lady who was sitting next to me, she said, oh, I like her. And she didn't even say anything to her. But the friendliness, the warmth, created the closeness. So, no matter who you are, you're a wonderful person. You have to believe in yourself. You're the product. Okay? That's critical idea number one. You're selling yourself. After you sell yourself, you could sell Shabbos, you could sell kosher, you could sell Israel. If they don't buy you, they're not buying any of it. Okay, we got that? Number two. When you speak to this person that you're making challah with, it's a critical thing to remember, point to remember, to never go negative about anything. Never go negative about anything. You have 45 minutes with the person. You have to keep it exceedingly positive. When I interview people for jobs, one of the things that I look for, and I'm not the only one, is will they be negative about their former employer? Why? Maybe they had a bad experience. But there's a way of spinning it where you don't have to go negative. When you go negative and you badmouth, you denigrate, you marginalize Jewish people of any stripe, of any belief, or not just Jewish people, but any people, they're not going to remember your argument. They may not even remember the words that you say. People don't remember arguments. They remember impressions of arguments. Anyone who has debated, if you watch the presidential debates, you'll see it's all about the impression. The glib one-liner, that memorable comeback. There's no substance to that. It's silliness, it's child's play. It doesn't make a difference. People remember impressions. It's one of the things that we, as Jewish people, and especially as B'nai Torah, we are used to being a little bit judgmental. And it's our job to be judgmental because that's how we keep our children out of mischief. That's how we make sure that we ourselves are around a good influence. We have to judge, right? Everyone judges, the whole world judges, and perhaps we are a little bit more, and for good reason. However, when you let that judgment flow from your lips, I want to tell you an awful story. When I was a rabbi in UCLA, let me give you a little background where I'm from. I was not a Makarov all my life. I was a pulpit rabbi for 10 years. I had a shul in Borough Park for 7 years. I had a beard, glasses, believe it or not. Yes, I looked much older. I gave shir and yor a day. At a very young age, I was a rabbi at the age of 21 in the Aguda on 14th Avenue. At the age of 27, I moved to Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and I became a rabbi over there. I'm a little bit older than I look. I'm a Zaidi. I have a number of grandchildren. Baruch Hashem, yeah, I do. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And I have 11 children myself, well, with my wife. We share, couldn't do it myself. But I did not start off in Kiruv. I started off as a pulpit rabbi. That's what I did. And it wasn't until I had a brother who was nifter. He passed away. He's actually very connected to the Far Rockaway community because he was married to a young lady from Far Rockaway named Perlman. If you know Naomi Perlman's daughter, Yocheved Perlman, married my brother, Gabriel Klatzko. Her son, Betzalel, married my sister, who you may have heard. She's a very famous Rivka Malka Perlman from Rapunzel. Have you ever, anyone? Okay, Rapunzel, that's my sister. So you may know that. So Gabriel, my brother, passed away when I was 30. He was 28 years old. And it was when he passed away. He wasn't sick. He went to sleep. He was nifter. It was a horrible story. And he left 4 little children. And she had to pick up the pieces. However, the impact that he made in South Africa, which is where he was the rabbi, for just 2 years, in the Sunny Road Synagogue, in Glen Hazel, in Johannesburg, in 2 years, he was makar of hundreds and hundreds of people. And the residual effect touched thousands of people until this day. And when I heard what he did, I was a rabbi in Perth Amboy. It was like an old shul where I was the rabbi / grandson of all the congregants. They would like say, "Good sermon, Rabbi," and pinch my cheek. So, hardly dignified, but cute nonetheless. And then when I realized what a great impact he had made, I thought about what I was doing in Perth Amboy, and I left that pulpit and I moved to Perth Amboy. I moved to UCLA from Perth Amboy. UCLA was the first college I was the rabbi of, and that's how I got involved in Kiruv. So that's why I reject the term professional Makarv. Well, I'm not a professional. There's no school for Makarvim, and I didn't know what I was doing. I never went to college. No, I lecture in Yale now, but then I didn't go to college at all. I'm the yeshiva guy. I went to Telz, I went to Staten Island, I went to Lakewood, and I got semicha from the mirror. That's my background. I'm yeshiva through and through, and I wrote a book for yeshiva bachrim called The Kuntras, which was spread all over yeshivas, how to be a yeshiva bacher. And yet, the reason I tell you this is because there's this concept that I'm not a professional makar, so leave it to the professionals. I really think that term is a bogus term. Like, what makes someone professional? You could be a professional caring about the next person kind of person. And then that's all you need, right? Oyeves abrias umakar from la Torah. That's the magic formula. Love people. That's the formula. You love people. You'll go out of your way. You'll make your mistakes. You'll learn from your mistakes, and you'll get better at what you do. It's not really. There's no real professional. I hate to say it, but I like to say it because you sitting here are as professional as me. There's no minor leagues. There's no undergrad. It's just caring about people. It's really all it is. Sort of to dissipate the magical, the magical makar. No such thing. I'm a balabas who loves people. That's all I am. When I moved onto the UCLA campus, so the very first year, I ran a trip called the New York trip. The New York trip is I took students from LA and brought them to New York, where they were to discover the Jewish community in New York. We went to the Lower East Side. We spent Shabbos and Monsey at Or Sameach. We did all sorts of Jewish things. And in the morning, they heard classes. And they were very inspired. So there was this one girl named Carrie, and she got really inspired. She was very unaffiliated, not religious at all. But at the end of the trip, she was so inspired. And she came back to UCLA. And the second day on campus, she comes over to me and says, Rabbi, you know what I just did? I signed up for the Jewish Studies class, Jewish Studies course. And when I heard that, I thought, oy vez mir. You see, Jewish Studies courses on college are like the anti-Jewish Studies course. They're usually a disaster. And UCLA, it's particularly bad because the rabbi is somebody who used to be religious and then went off the derech. And that rabbi teaches all the students that Purim never really happened, Chanukah never really happened, Matan Torah didn't happen. That's what he teaches. So when she said, hey, I signed up for the Jewish Studies class, the first words that came out of my mouth were, oh, I don't know if you should take it. The guy's a buffoon. Oh. I know, no, right? The guy's a buffoon. It's the first words that came out. I didn't see her for 2 years. She disappeared. I went negative once. I spent 10 days inspiring. One negative word left my mouth, and that was it. I lost her. With the chesed of Hashem, I bumped into her in a coffee shop the last semester that she was in college. I said, Carrie, we have to sit down. We got to schmooze. And we sat down. We had a heart-to-heart. We patched things up. Baruch Hashem sent her to seminary. Today she's living in the Pico Robertson area. She was my kid's teacher in Torah Semes. But none of that would have happened without the chesed of Hashem giving me a second chance. I blew it. And I blew it because I went negative. It's a hard lesson to learn. So no matter what group is mentioned during the Chalabek, and I mean no matter what group, if you don't like that group within Judaism, if you don't agree with them, no, it doesn't make a difference. Don't go negative. You don't like that group, whether it's, even things like sexual orientation or different denomination, or don't go negative. You're not going to convince anyone of anything while you're in the middle of braiding challah. It's not happening. And all they'll know is typical right-wing fanatic. So number 2, stay out of negativity, no matter what. It happens to be a great rule in general. It's a hard rule to keep. Once in a while, I slip, and I know I'm slipping. I know I'm going negative, and I can't help myself. I always, 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 always regret it. It's never paid off. You win the battle and you lose the war. Even if you convince them that this group is in the wrong, right? Push the positive and they'll understand. No, don't be that person. Let someone else be that. You be Pollyanna. For those my age and older. If you remember Haley Mills, right? You be Pollyanna, okay? You be the smiley person. Leave it at that. Number 3. When you speak to this person during the challah, you must take away any preconceived notions that they look at you a certain way. They don't. They really don't. They're not that sophisticated. They're not. In general, when I am in front of a non-religious person, they for sure don't know the difference between this kind of a pinch and a hat, that kind of a pinch and a hat, this kind of a yarmulke, that kind of a yarmulke, this kind of a shekel. That they don't know. They don't know what yeshivish means. They don't know what modern orthodox. They just don't know. And what happens is we come in with all this baggage. You're really coming in fresh. It's an amazing thing. You are fresh. And if you come in like that, really, really fresh, then you're not going to feel on the defensive. And part 2 of that concept is don't look at yourself like a used car salesman. And let me explain to you what I mean. Certain words are in the crosshairs of the haters. 10 years ago, the word yeshivish was in the crosshair of the haters. The word yeshivish became a bad word, chalila. Recently, there's a new word that's in the crosshairs. It's kiruv. He's a makarev. It's in the crosshairs now. Be aware of that. Be aware of how the media manipulates. Don't worry, they did it to Zionism. They did it to a lot of different things. They did it to Eretz Yisrael, and they do it to everything. You say something again and again, and even the Jews begin to believe it. It's important to know this. So when you hear kiruv, makarev, there are enough people that say, "Oh no, I don't do kiruv. I don't do kiruv," as if bringing people close to Hashem, which is the very definition of kiruv. It's the most glorious, most beautiful thing you could do, is reintroducing a person to the heritage that their parents and grandparents, great-grandparents, for the past 3,000 years lived, were Moser Nefesh, and died for. Why is that a dirty word? However, when we do kiruv, we are not selling used cars. What we are doing is we are giving them back their olam haba and their olam hazeh. So let me tell you something that's not said often enough. I'm going to say it right here. And especially for the younger people who are here. In case in your mind you ever think the secular world on any level is better off than the frum world, I want to tell you, as we say in Yeshivish, loy haya v'loy nivra. Never was, never will be. I circulate on college campuses. This Tuesday, I'm going to be in the University of Central Florida in Orlando. 6,000 Jews, they can't put together a minyan. From there, I'm going to Gainesville, Florida. Well, they only have 7,000 Jews, and they can't put together a minyan. So together, that's significantly bigger than Lakewood. That's like Lakewood and Muir put together, of totally disinterested and disconnected Jews. And when I sit down with them, every one of them has had girlfriends and boyfriends that they've broken up multiple times, multiple heartaches, multiple mini divorces, because when you've given yourself over emotionally to somebody, like a boyfriend-girlfriend scenario, and then they break your heart, that's like a mini divorce. That's what it feels like. So we have walking zombies on the campus who are 22 years old, who have been broken up 5 different times. They've had their heart broken and their trust betrayed. Drugs, forget it. I mean, it's a disaster out there. The only thing is, it's so common that it's not talked about. It's not an issue anymore. It's not the Leave It to Beaver. It's not the Cleavers anymore. This is the year 2015. The 1950s are long gone. Pretty much everything goes. So when we look at the frum community, with all of our warts and with all of our difficulties and all of our challenges, Mika Amcha Yisrael, I'm telling you, there's nobody who has it as good as us. Nobody. Nobody. the derech eretz, the depth. We had young ladies from Far Rockaway, from the school over here, that were brought to my home last year. Anyone here from that group? There we go. You were here. And do you remember who was there? The girls from University of Arizona. Now these are college girls, and they were there at the same time. So Friday night, they sat down together, and they had, what do you think of us? Well, what do you think of us? It was the most amazing thing. And you know what these college girls said to you guys, 15-year-olds? You're so mature. You're like more mature than us. And I was thinking to myself, not like. You are more mature, right? That's how it is. It's just, it's a different world. And therefore, when we introduce somebody to Torah, you don't have to feel like you're baiting and switching. You don't have to feel like you're being sneaky. That you're getting them into something, but they have no idea what it really means to be from. Oh no, wait till they find out about how difficult a real Yom Kippur is. Wait till they find out what Bris Milah is. Wait till they find out what it means to go to Minyan 3 times. Oh no, let's show them the fun stuff now. But when they'll find out, so then it'll be too late, they'll be trapped. No. If you feel like that, then see me afterwards. You should feel great about Yom Kippur. Doesn't mean it's not hard. But did you ever have a good Yom Kippur? At the end of Yom Kippur, you felt like a malach? Never happened? Never happened? It's happened. You know, when you screamed, Hashem, Hu Elohim, Hashem, Hashem, and at the top of your lungs, who gets to feel like that in the world? Who gets to feel cleansed and connected? Who gets to dance on Simchas Torah? You should have been. We did a Simchas Torah in our house this year. There was a scene. You couldn't record it. It was a scene like you've never seen. We had everyone from the shul in our house were sitting down in between our kafas. They were sitting down on the floor, and they began to scream, Tati, Tati, I love you, Tati. And everyone began to cry. You've never seen such a thing. This raw emotion, this desire to connect. We are giving them the greatest reality. So don't come there thinking, oh no, we'll give them challah, because challah is so benign, challah is so yummy, let's not give them the hard stuff. Wait till they hear about tznius. Oh yeah. Right? Then they're gonna, how am I gonna do that to them? Tznius is glorious. Tznius allows people to treat you like a human being instead of like a piece of meat, which is what happens on college campuses every single day. You can't even walk. A guy like me can't even walk on a college campus, like a parade. I'm going to Orlando. And then Gainesville, Florida. Goodness gracious. My wife is a saint for letting me go. You know? I want to tell you a mashal. It's not a mashal, it's a true story. But it's such a crazy story. I read this in the newspaper. There was a fellow whose wife asked him to clean the garage. He said, clean the garage. I want you to clean the garage. And he said, yeah, I'll do it. Finally, he promised he'll do it on Saturday. Not Jewish. I'll do it on Saturday. And Saturday came. He was watching college football. And he said, I'm not in the mood. I'll do it tomorrow. And she said, do it today. You promised. You keep pushing it off. And he said, I'll do it tomorrow. Leave me alone. I'll do it tomorrow. And they got into a little argument. And in the end, she couldn't make him do it. So he sat down in his undershirt with a beer in his hand. And he watched the game all day. Sunday came. And he began to clean out the garage. And as he's cleaning it out, he finds a jar of screws and nails. He takes the jar and he sees in the jar a piece of paper. He takes out the paper, and it's a lottery ticket, an old lottery ticket that he bought. So he was curious. He calls up the lottery, and he says, what were the numbers on such and such a date for this lottery? And what were the winnings? So the lady answers back, well, the winnings for that ticket were 32 million. And the numbers are, and as she says the numbers, he looks at the ticket, and he says number. And And he has all the matching numbers, and he begins to go crazy over the phone. And on the other line, she's like, Mr., sir, Mr. Finally, he says, yeah. So I don't know how to tell you this, but it expired yesterday. It was in the newspaper, this story. It expired yesterday. So this fellow, I don't know, I was almost said the word loser, but this fellow, because he did lose, right? This fellow will now have to go to a cubicle to work in a 9-to-5 job the next 40 years, getting paid $26 an hour, when he could have been sitting on $32 million the rest of his life if he had just listened to his wife. What's the lesson?
Listen to your wife.
Besides that lesson, the lesson is that some people are holding on to the winning lottery ticket and they don't realize it. If you're Jewish, you're holding on to the winning lottery ticket. You're holding on to Shabbos. You're holding on to meaning. You're holding on to Chinuch Habanim. You're holding on to Shmiras Haloshin. You're holding on to Musar. You're holding on to Bikur Cholim. You're holding on to Chesed Shel Emes. You're holding on to gold and diamonds and the winning lottery ticket. And if you don't have it, you know what you're doing? You're washing your car on Saturday. And you're having quality time instead of quantity time. You know, seeing a movie with your kid when neither of you talk to each other during the whole movie. That's the quality time. Instead, like I did this week, and I had one kid on one knee, one kid on the other, as I asked them Parsha questions. Noach and the dove and the Orev, and questions in depth and meaning. Little kids, gold dripping from their mouth. You're giving the best that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to offer. So that should be your attitude when you speak to them. Don't judge. Understand that you have the goods. Be warm and friendly. Sell yourself. Okay, next point. You have to be opportunistic. And it means the following. Because there aren't professional Makarvim, each and every person here has the opportunity to bring home lost neshamas. And you don't have to do it only at the challah bake. The challah bake could be the beginning. But the first thing you must do, if you can, is get their name and number. Now you're going to have their name and number because they're taking the name and number. But it's better if you get it. You know why? Because then there's consent. If you give them your number and you get their number, then they're going to expect a phone call from you. You, that lovely person who baked challah with them, you're going to call them up and make a play date with the kids. Or if you're younger, you'll go and play with their kids and take their kids to the park and read with them and connect with them. It's critical, not just during the challah bake, but in general to know that when you meet someone, if you don't get their information, you've wasted everyone's time. It's not enough to give out websites. Oh, go to aish.com, you'll find great things. Go to chabad.org. Go to shabbat.com. No, these are great things to do, but you must get their info. Because the chances are they won't remember what website to go to. And even if they do remember, even if you write down on a piece of paper, they'll lose the paper. You want their info. How many people, if you would have just had their info, I speak to people all the time. Oh, Rabbi, I met this person on the plane. Whoa, they were so interested in Judaism. So I'm like waiting to punch on, okay. Yeah, so we spoke for 3 hours. Okay, so, yeah, so I gave them the name of a book. Did you get their number? Did you get their name? Did you get their email? No, I gave them the name of a book. That makes no sense on any level. They're not going to Amazon to run after the book that I met with the person on the plane. I don't know why we delude ourselves into thinking that. You don't have to be professional. Just seichel, get their name, get the number. If you can't do it, there are Makarvim who live in your community who would be overjoyed. Where were we just now? We were just in the coffee shop, right? What was it called? coffee bar. I don't know, just somewhere over there. We have a coffee bar. And we were speaking to this couple. And they said, yeah, they were on a plane, actually. I wasn't thinking that. On a plane. And they met this person. And that person was interested. I said, great. Did you get their name and the number? And guess what? They did. And they invited her for Shabbos. So I said, are you going to invite them? They said, well, we're not really sure who she is. I said, look, if you're not going to invite them, give me the name and number. I will invite them. I'll try to get them to Israel. Give me the name and number. They said, we're going to invite them. I said, great. Will you follow up with me? I said, did you follow up with me? I'm curious. I'm interested. I want to know. Why should anyone be left without a hookup? So always get the name and number and email. If you get their email, then even if it's a link, you could send them h.com. At least you could send them a link. At least they're only a click away. Simpletoremember.com. They're only a click away from Simple to Remember. Partners in Torah, a click away. But if you don't have their info, you're toast. So wherever you go, get their information. That is to know that there are resources in the community and there's funding in the community for everyone. Now that Lori Palatnik has JWRP. There's the JEC in Manhattan. There's Partners in Torah. There's URA. From elementary school all the way till, even for older people, there are things that are out there. Familiarize yourself with what those things are, and if you're not sure, do a little research so that you'll be able to, next time you sit down with coffee with that person, you'll be able to tell them. And speaking of that, if you invite them during the Shabbos project and they can't come, big deal. Invite them the next week. Invite them the week afterwards. It's great for them to come. It will be very exciting if everyone comes. But if they can't come because they have a prior engagement, I want to tell you, last year I monitored the invites because the Shabbos project used Shabbat.com as their backbone. Which means, by the way, we have a lot of non-from people that are waiting this year because they already signed up last year. I want to tell you, the invites dropped off so severely the very next week. I didn't know what to think. Like, are we serious about connecting, or did we want to just create great press? Great press we're going to have this week. Yay, colorful Shabbos project. That's great. We need a good kickoff. We need momentum. But don't let it be just that. Invite guests. Invite. If your house is open enough, and I'm going to wind it down 2 more minutes. It doesn't just have to be non-from. You could invite a kid at risk. You could invite a grusha, somebody, a divorcee. Do you know how many divorcees are flying around out there? And many of them lose their Yiddishkeit because they're so depressed because they haven't found the shidduch and the community's not for them. And eventually they say, I have to expand who I go out with just so I'm not lonely. I spoke to one this morning. Lovely girl, Choshev, a father, Mechaber Svarim. She's talking about going out with a guy. You know why? Because she's lonely. Invite her. Why is it only kiruv? It's nonsensical. And I'll tell you something else. If you take it seriously and you begin to invite generously, you will end up with plenty of non-from people. I spoke to the head of the Shabbos Project, Danny Muscat, in Chicago. And he said, show me only non-from people. I said, why? Why? Well, they need Shabbos. Why? They're the only ones who need? I said, I want to tell you, more non-from people come to my house, I think, than any house in America. But guess what? I don't invite only non-from. Far be it. I invite plenty of from, plenty of people who are off the derech. And when you cast a wide net, you know what ends up happening? They bring their non-from friends. A few weeks ago, we did something called an OTD Shabbat, an Off the Derech Shabbos. It was a Facebook group called OTD. You saw it. OTD Shabbos. All the Off the Derech people, they wanted. So the very first day, One person said, whatever we do, keep Klatzko off our Facebook group. Well, that didn't work. Within a few weeks, Baruch Hashem, not only was I part of the group, but I made a Shabbaton for the OTDniks. And they came, and they had a wonderful Shabbos, and one OTD person brought his friend and the girlfriend, and she needed chizuk, and she did not grow up from, and now she's coming with me to Israel on December 15th, right? From inviting an OTD, and I got someone who wasn't from. When you cast a wide net, you end up with non-from people. And I'll even put a challenge out to you right now. I know a group this week of girls from Lakewood, 20-something-year-olds, who need chizuk, who contacted me, want to come to my house. It's not the right week because I'm having older people. Anyone who wants to make a little Shabbaton, lovely, wonderful girls, the system wasn't that great for them, for whatever. They want to be together for Shabbos, and they're looking for a Shabbaton this week. Come to me afterwards. I'll send them all to you. You'll be mechazik them. Because I'll tell you something. If you're not mechazik them now, you'll be inviting them in the Shabbos project, or you'll be inviting their children, who will be completely off the derech. Wide net, wide vision. Okay? Let me be mechazik you again. If you're not on Shabbat.com, it's free. Do it. There's an app now. There's no excuse not to do it. Invite people. Put a picture. If you don't put a picture, no one's going to want to come because who are you? Right? You're going to put a nice little picture. You can do it straight from your phone. And invite people each week. And the more you do it, I'll tell you one last thing that I heard from a big tzaddik. And that's going to give the people who are running this a lot of chizuk, okay? A lot of chizuk. I heard this from Rabbi Orlovsky many years ago. He said that the final gullus is gullus Yishmael. The very last gullus is the Muslim gullus, the Arab gullus. You know why that is, he says? It's not gullus Edom, it's Yishmael. You know why? Because they're our greatest enemy. They're the greatest danger to the Jewish people. You know why? Because they fight us on a spiritual level as well. Everything that we do, they try to do, but better. And what that does is it gives the Satan a way to fight against our Malach. So our Malach comes to Hashem and says, Hashem, look at the Yidden. They do a bris milah. Comes along to Malach of Yishmael, and yeah, so do they. And they do it older. It's even more painful. So our Malach, look, fasting on Yom Kippur. They fast the whole month, Ramadan. Doesn't make a difference, that's for sheker. The fact that they could do the same thing takes away some of our koach. We know that from Ein Sisra. It doesn't, I'm not going to go into that, but they could take away our koach even if they're doing it for the wrong reason. So our Malach says, yeah, but look kasher, shchita, halal meat, tznius. Oh, tznius, the Muslim, right? On and on and on. Whatever we do. Davening, we daven 3 times a day. 5 times a day. And all of a sudden, we are defamed. All of a sudden, all of our spiritual koach. But you know what we always said we had from our Avraham Avinu? Hachnas sarchim. We always had that. But all of a sudden, the Arabs have gotten very good at inviting guests. Could you believe? There are Bedouin tents in Eretz Yisrael, and they welcome in birthright groups. These Muslims. So how can we be shvach in Achnas HaSorchim? Do we want them to take that from us as well? So, whoever you could have, someone not from, invite them. Someone yes from, invite them. A single person, invite them. A ger, invite them. A divorcee, invite them. An alman, invite them. No one should be without a place. Thank you very much.